friends? How are you guys doing today? Welcome back. Thanks for stopping in and hanging out with me for just a little bit. I'm glad to see you. I hope you're having a great day. I am too. It's raining a little bit outside, but that's okay because I'm in here hanging out watching movies, guys, and we get to talk about them. Today, we're talking about a movie from 1966. Same year, Navajo Joe came out, movie we talked about in the last review. This is called Duel at El Diablo, directed by Mr. Ralph Nelson. Now, guys, before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified when I post new and interesting things. Today, guys, like I said, Duel at Diablo, and it's got James Garner. It's got the incomparable Mr. Sidney Poitier. This is a fantastic little Western, guys, and it's fun. It's fun because it's unlike Navajo Joe, which to me was a very cut and dry revenge thriller actioneer kind of Western. This is more. This has more substance. It has more soul, more heart. Has better acting. It has it has better action, better cinematography, a better story. Our story is this lady. There's been this rash of I forget if they're Comanche or Apache. I forget which one, but they're one of those two Native American tribes, and they are kidnapping women on the frontier, and they kidnap this one woman, and our opening of the film sees her escaping, and James Garner, his character, finds her, brings her back to the town, and we follow her from there. We find out that she has a son. She has, with the Indian chief's son, she has a son, and she has kind of an affinity for the Native American people. James Garner also has an affinity for the Native American people. He was married to a Native American lady, and someone killed her and scalped her, and so James Garner cannot rest until the person who did that to his beloved wife is 6 feet in the ground. And Sidney Poitier plays an ex-Buffalo soldier / horse breaker, and he's just a rancher, like he's helping the fort break horses, and they're like, well, hey, we've got to move from here to here, and sorry about your luck, but you're gonna have to break the horses along the way. And he's like, are you kidding me? But I gotta get paid. So he and James Garner have a pretty good friendship. They've started up, and it's really good, their chemistry. James Garner and Sidney Poitier, they play off of each other so well. There's some humor in there. There's some pretty serious acting. There's a scene where, in the very beginning, where Sidney Poitier, he asks James Garner how much for the Indian scalp that he's holding on to. And they get into he just about tries to kill Sidney Poitier. And the guy's like, what'd you do? One of the fort soldiers stops him. He's like, what'd you do that for? And he's like, because, you idiot, that's his wife. And he was like, oh, snap. So there's some character development there that shows there's consequences to your actions. You can't be talking that way to people. You don't know things, so don't talk kind of thing. It's just really... The acting is solid. I was a real big fan of the acting. And the action, like I said earlier, was on point. There's some scenes where there's, some pretty well choreographed shootouts. There's a couple of really good fist fights in there. And, it's the old West, old 1960s, 50s Western punches where they're rearing way back and throwing these wide looping punches. People are falling through barroom tables. It was awesome. I dug it because it was just fun. It took me back to a simpler time of Westerns, Like, my grandfather, I grew up watching Westerns with him. He was a big Gunsmoke fan. He was a big Bonanza fan. We watched it in the afternoons after school sometimes. So he was a big Western fan. He loved Clint Eastwood movies. And so this took me back to a time where I was sitting, in his recliner with him, 8, 9 years old, watching Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or seeing Yul Brynner in The Magnificent Seven. This takes me back. This was that type of film that it just kindled a nostalgia in me, but it was still a solid film because the story was good. It was complex. It wasn't just, like I said, cut and dry action. It was very complex. There were emotions at play. There were thematic elements at play. There was a lot of stuff going on, but it was handled so well, and it was handled with such care that you could tell that this film was crafted, not just shot. And that's what I really, really liked about it, was the fact that it felt like someone really put effort into it. There wasn't, like, the continuity was good. Because sometimes in Westerns, you'll be like, oh, there's a guy and he's on a horse. And the next scene, that horse doesn't have a guy on it. And you're like, what happened to him? He mysteriously get eaten by a sandworm? You know? So we don't know. But this didn't have continuity mistakes that I could tell. This didn't have just ridiculous dialogue. Everything felt very serious. But when there was humor, it was appropriate humor. It wasn't humor to diffuse a situation. It was humor to enhance a scene that was actually already funny, you know what I mean? So I really enjoyed it. I think if you guys were to check it out, I think you would enjoy it too, especially with James Garner and Sidney Poitier, two legends. You can't go wrong with that. And if you guys really want to check it out, you can find it on Prime. You can find it on Freevee. You can find it on Pluto. You can find it on Tubi. You got options, baby. You got options. You can find it in those locations, probably elsewhere. Check it out, guys. Give it a watch. If you have seen it, comment, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about it, guys. But that's it for Duel at Diablo. And as always, my friends, I'm going to keep making them as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you, and I will see you soon.